Hi there, I'm Robert Moore and I'm new to this. Not being on camera, mind you, I do co host a podcast in my professional life. We are called the Cosmic Pie. We work, me and my co host, at the University of North Dakota in the Department of Physics and Astrophysics. That's why I'm not too afraid of saying that. We're out there, my face is out there anyway. That said, I've never really done anything like this. Tried to become part of AuthorTube or something like that. I've been lurking for a while, but I've not put myself out there. But that's about to change because I've got a book coming out in the not very near future, but relatively near future. So I decided it was time to start trying to get a multimedia, social media, that's the word, presence out there. And as you can tell, I'm kind of not running this by a script. In fact, if you watch any of our Cosmic Pie podcasts, you'll tell real quick we don't run on a script. So I'm not either. That said, I do have observed that there's a few questions that people tend to answer for these first videos. So I'm going to run through those. I think it's called AuthorTube Newbie 2.0 or something like that. So I'm going to look at those questions and use them as a guide for this first video. That said, the first one was, what's your book's pitch? My book is called Mortal.exe. It's the story of the daughter of Hades and Persephone. Yes, that Hades and that Persephone decided she's going to college. She's going to study computer science. And she inadvertently creates an AI, an actual artificial entity. That's the pitch. That's the elevator pitch. You want to learn more, see some of my other videos. I'm certainly going to put a little more information, blurbish, out there. But that's the pitch. So, daughter of Hades and Persephone goes to college, study computer science, ends up creating an actual artificial entity. Should be good, right? Sounds like it to me. Anyway, question number 2 is, if you were a book, how would you pitch yourself? I'm not even going to remotely touch that. I am. I'm a physicist, astronomer, planetary scientist who's been interested in science since they were a small child and got interested in where we get planets from. So that's been kind of the guiding light since a very young age for my life. That's my pitch. I've turned to telling stories, but I do consider myself a storyteller, not necessarily a writer. I'm not trying to write the next great American novel. I'm trying to sit by the fire with you and let's stare into the flames and hallucinate vividly. So that's my pitch for myself. Probably not the most interesting, but there it is. So question number 3, what do you usually write? Most of my stories, and definitely my novels, revolve around modern fantasy. Taking old legends, old stories, and plunking them into what if a siren showed up learning to learn ASL? What if the daughter of the god, two of the Greek gods, decided to study computer science? So that's where most of my stories lie. That said, I do tell some more classic fantasy stories. I do tell some science fiction stories. I've dabbled in horror. I'm planning on dabbling in detective noir and maybe some westerns. So that's what I write. I'm pretty much everywhere. I get an idea for a story. I want to be able to tell it. So I want to know the tropes. I want to know the style. I want to know everything I possibly can. That's just me. So, what's something you'll never write? See above. I will write just about anything. Chances are, I can't really say that. Once upon a time, I would have said the thing I won't write is romance. Yeah, I've got a good chunk of that in my Mortal.exe. So there you go, too. Is it a romance novel? Probably not. I can't market it that way because there's a few of the tropes like happily ever after or happily for now that are done in romance novels, and mine definitely don't have that. So if you're expecting that, don't. But there is a romantic thread through the whole thing. So, next question. What's your goal for starting an AuthorTube channel? I'm trying to build an audience. I'm trying to grow a community, trying to reach out to folks. If you're interested, if my stories sound interesting, chat with me, talk with me. I will definitely work with people as beta readers or critique partners. But in the end, I'm just trying to build a community, trying to reach out, trying to stir some interest in the stories I have to tell. That's my goal. What made me start writing? I can't really tell. I know because my grandmother kept it that my first story was told back when I was about 10 or 11 years old. It was written right after I saw the movie The Black Hole, the Disney movie. Most of you probably never even heard of it, much less seen it. And it was a child's exposition trying to show off how much I knew about black holes. Yeah. From there, it was probably the 90s when I started trying to write again. Told another story, and I'm in the process of thinking about how to rewrite it. Then picked up speed in about the 2000s, and I just finally really felt I had stories to tell. I had things people to say that people might be interested in reading. So that's it. What's your publishing path? I'm guessing that means self-published, hybrid, or traditional. I have decided to go self-publishing. There's a lot of story behind that, and I'm sure in some of the future videos I'll do about this that will come out more. But needless to say, I've become a little jaded and disillusioned with the traditional route. So stay tuned. What content do you bring to AuthorTube Table? Well, I've kind of covered a little of that. I plan on bringing a lot of videos about my upcoming story. In the near future, for the near future, it's going to be mainly about posts about Mortal.exe, my process, the characters, maybe reading a few excerpts from it. Nothing juicy or spoilery, but I think there are some tales that could be told without doing that. So I'm going to tell some posts about that. I'm going to read excerpts from some of my other stories. I'm going to probably get into my process, how I came up with the idea for my stories, or the ideas, plural, how I developed them, things like that. So I'm going to be all over the place. The one thing you probably won't find too much of is advice videos. I don't think I have much good advice. Maybe I'm selling myself short, but I have one or two gems, if you will, but nothing else. So I'm not going to go in that direction. I'm not going to do book reviews. I read too slowly, and I read too old-fashioned. I'm trying to break that habit, but I'm old and set in my ways. Sorry. What's your biggest writing struggle? Probably just sitting down and doing it, which is strange because that's one of my pieces of advice, but I get to thinking about other things. I get tired and I don't want to. So making the time to do it. So that's probably my biggest struggle. If you've been on YouTube for a while, what's your best AuthorTube tip? Okay, so we'll get into one of those bits of advice. My tip is honestly for writing, and that is write. Sit down, don't edit, don't worry about it not being perfect, just write. This first book, Mortal.exe, took me 3.5 years to write. I have since written 2 other manuscripts, and the longest any of them took, and we're talking 80,000 words here for both of them, and the longest either of them took was 7 months. I went from 3.5 years to 7 months because I finally took the advice right. Don't edit, don't look back at it, just get the story out of your head. So that's my tip. Are you looking for any new channels to follow, betas, CPs, or other types of writer buddies? If tell us so, tell us what we are looking for. I'm looking for others who are walking this path with me. If you're interested, my stories sound interesting to you and you want to see them, let's talk. But that's not my main point. I want to share what I have with you, and I would like to see how your journey's gone. So that's what I'm doing on AuthorTube. Let's see. What are you most excited for doing this new fresh start on AuthorTube? Doing what I'm doing right now. I am not a marketing person. I can't sell myself, much less anything else, or I don't think I can. So I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. I'm moving into some new territory, and I hope I'm not going to mess it up too terribly. So that's what I'm looking for, and that's what I'm doing. Yay. So those are the questions. I guess I'll throw out, do you have any questions to me? Does anything I've said sound interesting? I'll probably be doing a few videos where I'll talk about some of my science stuff that's going on. So stay tuned. There's no telling what you'll see. I'm looking for suggestions there too. What sounds interesting if you're watching this video? So that said, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to keep this fairly short. I will try to do that in the future too, by the way. So I look forward to hearing from you, and hopefully we'll take some few steps together. Have a good evening, folks. Look forward to hearing from you. Bye.